Hey everyone, it's Coach Rick. I recently did a tutorial on eating for cancer, and I mentioned how I believe there's certain ways to eat. I'm just finishing my Prolon box 5-day fast. I'll probably do it again in about a month, and the month after that, 3 in a row. And see my video down below. I'm trying to reset my gut, and I think this is a great avenue, in addition to losing some COVID pounds, which I now have gotten to, and hopefully beating cancer if it is around. So the cancer video I did before was kind of general, but the one I'm doing today specifically is around, I guess if you wanted to market prostate cancer. And the travel or the journey of prostate cancer as far as primary care is concerned is very tortuous. I mean, we used to be able to find, I would do prostate exams on everybody. And that's a digital rectal exam where you put your finger up somebody's butt, and also a PSA blood test. Now, in 2008 and 2012, because it didn't make a difference in the end as far as whether you butchered everybody or you just watched them, the suggestions, depending on which governing body you follow, has been you don't need a PSA anymore, and it's questionable whether you need a digital rectal exam. But it's always supposed to be thrown back to this. Big organizations throw it back to the doctor, saying it has to be discussed between doctor and patient. I don't know what that means. So I thought that in time, if you didn't do prostate cancer screenings, eventually you're going to have some breakthrough high differentiated or very dangerous prostate cancers come through, which I think is showing now. But regardless, I still do PSAs at least, and this is a PSA for Tim. And this is a timeline from old to new, right? The reason I wanted to show you this is that here he has 5, 5, 5. This is high. PSAs, it's technically higher than 3 to 4, depending on the lab, are indicative of a problem. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has cancer. It can indicate just a big prostate, benign prostatic hypertrophy, but it's up to the clinician, again, to figure out, okay, this need to be investigated further with biopsies, MRI biopsies, and some other things, PHIs, percent free. So the idea would be you follow these as far as primary care is concerned, right? Now, so Tim was found to have prostate cancer, and he's maintained it. He's in something called active surveillance. So nowadays, if there's, after the blood test, there's core biopsies done. That's like a microphone through the rectum that just pokes at the prostate and gets some biopsies of tissue to look under the microscope. And when there's an overwhelming amount of core biopsies that are positive, in addition to a high PSA and a bad field, then plus or minus an MRI, you might have to have surgery. But in Tim's case, there weren't that many cores that were positive, so he is being watched. And the only caveat I have to active surveillance, which is just watching, is if you watch, there's going to be 3 outcomes. One is it's going to get worse and you're going to need surgery. I'd act on that. 2 is it's going to stay the same until you keep on watching it die from something else. I'd act on that. 3, it'll go down. I don't usually see it go down. Well, I should say, statistically, it doesn't really go down. It just stays the same. But in all 3 cases, even if it went down, I would try to make a lifestyle change. And that's what my job as lifestyle coaching is to look at the individual, meet them where they lie, and then see if we can improve lifestyle to the point where they will be able to actively have a long lifespan and health span. Lifespan would be one thing. If you're unhealthy and you're on a ventilator, that's not a good lifespan. If you can have a long lifespan and a long health span, that would be awesome. Blue zones. So if you go back to Tim, you see he was high, high, high. He bounced up and down in the 5s. And I kept on telling Tim, hey, why don't you try this Prolon box? Why don't you try plant-based diet? Dean Ornish's data showed that guys that were prostate cancer in situ, when they went on a vegan diet, did group counseling, did yoga, exercised, and had low fat, which is really tough, but the data showed it reversed. So that was a tough sell for Tim, but we eventually got him to at least try a box. I don't remember if he tried the box, and I sell these, just full disclosure, I sell these at a discount on my website, Herbal411, but I don't know if it was I had him do a box or just formulated it on his own with his wife, but look what happened. Normal, 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 bow. It went down. And we're going to continue following it, but that, I believe, because nothing else was changed. I told him not to make too many other changes in variables. And that was the only one. So it went down. Is that coincidental? I don't think so. I'll repeat it out here and we'll continue watching it. But hopefully he's grabbed onto the lifestyle change. I mean, theoretically, as I mentioned, 3 to 4 in Tim's age group, 60-something, or is it 70? I forget. I think it's late 60s. It is, you can, if you dive below 3, you're normal. Now that all depends on your biopsies as well, and an MRI or a PHI or a percent, or your testosterone. Well, not really testosterone, but so I think he's heading in the right direction. I'll keep on following him. I'll keep on embracing maybe a whole food plant-based diet, which I'll get to in the end. But I think that is related to the change in the diet and metabolism of 5-day fast. Now, it's not just 5 days and you go back to sugar. He got to this point by eliminating a lot of junk food, standard American diet stuff, and then pulled the trigger for 5-day fast. And hopefully he's still, with that result, he's more encouraged to maintain and dive into more of a healthy lifestyle change. This is Adam. So Adam's numbers just as well. Now, Adam is every guy's different. His PSAs were elevated, as shown here and here. And I think he had a lot of core biopsies that were positive. So his team suggested, and I am lucky enough to be part of the team, but his team suggested taking out the prostate. I don't think radiation is involved. I don't think chemotherapy is going to be involved. But so again, case by case basis, that's why you have to really have a good gestalt, a good guess, a good pulse on this individual in front of you to figure out what's best for him. But and Tim's a bit stressed out. Eats when he can, and finally got him to take some time off. But he was going to take time off and he saw me for a pre-operative evaluation, and he does have the time off now in preparation for the surgery coming up. And I don't have all of the details, but look what happened when he switched over to just a plant-based diet. He got rid of a lot of meat, a lot of the carcinogens, a lot of the standard American diets stuff, but he went from a 4 up to a 5, and there's other ones in between that I don't have here. But this is his most latest one. He has dropped below the deck. I mean, that's an outstanding number. Theoretically, he's normal. Now, you can't just go by one metric. You have to go by all the metrics and see. Now, I just got an MRI denied, so I wanted to see if I can repeat an MRI. It has to be a T1, T2. Well, it has to be a specific type of MRI, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if he's going to pull the trigger on postponing surgery, but I was like, wait a minute. What's the hurry for surgery? Can't we wait? Because his oncologist told him when the number came down, the oncologist said, well, you still have prostate cancer. That wasn't the question. The question was, did my lifestyle change do anything? And I think it did. Not only did he lower the PSA and feel better, he also lost 10 to 15 pounds, I think. Or was it 20? I can't remember, but he lost weight. He's feeling better. He has more energy. Just getting rid of the crap, and I'll talk about that now, will make a difference. But if there's a difference in the host, there should be a difference in the immunity. And if there's a difference in the immunity, you should be able to fight stronger compared to before. So my challenge is, okay, we have a diagnosis made of cancer. I don't think it's come outside the prostate capsule, so it's well controlled, well contained thus far. Can we wait a little longer to see if continued lifestyle change, in addition to more lifestyle change and investment, will continue to reverse this? I have a great feeling about this, and I suggested he think hard. If it was me, I would wait. I'm not in his shoes, but I showed him the superficial data I got, and I think I would change continuously and postpone, but he has to decide that. And it's going to be a tough decision, but how can I argue this? I'll put up a couple studies. So this was just a study from the Netherlands that showed that short-term fasting, which is essentially what that 5-day fast is, short-term fasting does harden up the normal cells and irritates the cancer cells or any precancer cells. So short-term fasting is an old-fashioned method, and it does help. I think bottom line, though, is if you get off the standard American diet, if you introduce a short-term fast of some sort, and there's different types, and maybe move on to a whole food plant-based diet, that might be a good direction. Now, whether you, or even a keto-induced diet, whether you buy into that or not, and whether you stick with it is the difference. But so Walter Longo, as I mentioned, he studied the effect of cancer with chemotherapy and cancer with a 5-day fast, and cancer with both chemotherapy and a 5-day fast. And he found, I suggest you try to get his information. He has a lot of YouTube videos if you want to dive into the weeds and that too. But he found that there's a better outcome when you combine chemo and fasting, 5-day fast. Now he's extending the information from the last 3 years, using his profits from the Prolon company and applying the same access, or at least the same kind of pulsed diet, fast, to Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, and I think there was one about in Italy about the use in athletes. So no downside. No downside. It's painful to do it, 5 days. It's a little expensive, but so is chemotherapy. You get through some of the chemotherapy poisons, maybe the surgeries, maybe the radiation, you'll probably be bankrupt. At least 30%, I think, of most breast cancer survivors are really financially bankrupt at that time that they survive. And then they're open to other things that will come as a tail end of side effects to the treatment plans. So one way or another, you have to pay. So I would say do this, pay it forward by doing this first. Now, if you can, as I alluded to in the beginning, if you can make a lifestyle change early on, early detection is important, but early change is even more important than that. That would be the goal. However, we aren't that way, and look where we're getting with COVID. We have the highest amount of impacts as far as deaths and sickness in the United States. I blame it on standard American diet and standard American lifestyle. So this is just a study to show that dietary restriction does help with chemotherapy, but people can get through a standard fast, or at least a short-term fast. And it does, so if you can get through a short-term fast, even on chemotherapy, and they fared better, they fared okay. This is just a paper to show that people, even going through chemotherapy, will tolerate this versus like a 0-calorie water-only fast. I think that's a little bit too tough. But so I think it's important to know that if you have the most delicate population in the world, the cancer patients going through treatment, survive this thing, then you can do it. So you just have to get used to. And I also have a way to prepare for for the forced ketosis of the box and dropping down to significantly lower level of calories than usual. Yeah, people will have a detox of sorts, but I think if you preload with a ketogenic pulse every once in a while so that the body and the brain taste a little bit of ketosis, and I'm not going to go into that now, but I think you'll fare better through the 5 days. This last 5 days was spectacular, and I got down to my pre-COVID weight. So as far as moving forward from pulsed fasting to your new kind of dieting, I think a whole food plant-based diet's where I would go. You don't have to be a vegan, you can be a vegetarian, and there's several types of different vegetarians. This is just to encourage plant-based eating. So here is a picture of the different types of vegetarians. There's vegan, raw vegan, ovo-lacto, pescatarian is not here, Mediterranean. So there's different types of vegetarians, but the bottom line is that there's an emphasis on plant-based. There should be an emphasis on whole food plant-based, like cooking from scratch, but a lot of the old cooks from the old world are not teaching the younger people, and we're losing the talent, the traditional techniques passed on generation to generation because nobody has time. So, or the grandmas, the great-great-grandmas that are supposed to teach this are getting stuck in a nursing home instead of living with the families. So it's a bad time. Anyway, so I am a vegan. I think going to a whole food plant-based diet would be important, at least to try. So it's a tough sell. I usually will get my patients to do at least 2 days a week of no animal products. And then you see how they feel. And they see how they do that day. And most people will tolerate that. I think it's an entry-level point of tasting what it's like to live as me. But again, everybody's a little different. And depending on the medical problem and the amount of overwhelming disease, if I get somebody that's 50 years old 300 pounds, has 5 different medical problems, and depressed, and broke, that's going to be a tough car to move. But if you can do that earlier on, when 1 or 2 medical problems has just started to show its head, then important. And that's why I do a lot of testing. So the labs around my area know when my patients walk in, because they walk in with a stack of paper to get blood testing. And it is a lot, but I have several different metrics I'd like to see in addition to spending the time to see who this person is with a long window of history taking. Once I have the entire history, now I've been scolded not to spend too much time with patients because all my other colleagues don't spend as much time, so it's not necessary, but integrative medicine, it's necessary. That is why I've opened up my lifestyle clinic, and I'll do a video on my lifestyle clinic, but I think it's important to get the pulse of who this person is and how he can make changes, and then reintroduce something different and then see if it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, reintroduce something else. So we have to constantly, I have to be a coach, and I just don't have the time in insurance-based medicine. So forgive me, my patients, those of you who, and I've been told this, since I was scolded, people have noticed a change in my technique. I'm just trying to keep up with the times, at least the insurance-based times, that some insurances pay $49.95 per visit, and they pay the office like every twice a year, which is ridiculous. But I have to honor the people who make my paycheck, as little as it is right now. However, if you want change, come see me at my lifestyle clinic. But bottom line, I think that with regards to eating, if you don't want to do a whole food plant-based approach, just know or assume that every food product you eat has a carcinogen or potential for mutating something. And if you think of it that way, I think even if you're a layman, you can kind of figure out, okay, of all the food I'm eating today, assuming that there's a carcinogen, and this might be orthorexic or almost anorexic, bulimic, but assuming that there's going to be carcinogen, how much damage will I impact over the course of the day? Am I having a Coke and is this helping me or harming me? Am I having a processed food from McDonald's? Is this harming me or helping me? So if I'm having alcohol, nothing but that, is it harm? So I think that's the way to go. You don't have to, now if you're having a cigarette, you know that's harming you, there's no benefit. Hey, come on, if you're getting to arguments all the time, same thing with that. If you're having diarrhea and you're getting antibiotics in your, so we're going down the line I don't want to get too deep into, but bottom line for this is change your food, change your life. So, or at least change the statistics of you. So this was a study out of Austria, and it essentially talked about something called the Warburg Effect. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. The Warburg Effect showed that cancers like glucose. Cancers don't like ketones. They need a fast, because cancers are so fast to reproduce, they're proliferative. Usually most cells, the reason we don't have normal cells go into cancer is because they have a check mark. They have a gateway, and there's three gateways in a cell cycle replication. Usually those are check marks, and you have to get past that. If you're senescent, if you're old, if you're precancerous, then the cell goes into autophagy and dies. That's supposed to happen, but some cells become cancerous when they get past the check marks and they start to reproduce rapidly. They use up a lot of resources. They suck out blood. They put blood vessels and grow blood vessels into organs, and they continue to drain resources, and they grow quick. Now, with quick growing, you need glucose, and ketones are not a preferential source of energy. So the theory is, especially with what I'm going to show you in a little bit of time, well, I might as well show it you now. Seafried and D'Agostino came up with some great information on glioblastoma multiforme, GBM, the nastiest brain tumor. My yoga teacher, David Simon, died of this, and God bless his soul. There's not much at this point in time when you have advanced GBM. It's an aggressive disease. However, these guys have shown that with certain cancers, including GBM, you can have a response rate to ketosis. So that's the Warburg Effect. The problem is with I did do a video on ketosis. Ketosis is also a commitment too, and it's a weird commitment because a lot of people that try ketosis, they think just eating bacon and having Big Macs is ketosis. That's not ketosis. That's just an excuse for going to McDonald's. So you do have to change. You do have to eat healthily, but you have to do mostly fat. And yes, there's a lot of fat in meat, and you will be having some meat, but it's not all meat. That's carnivore. And I have my reservations for carnivore diet, although I hear some people doing well with it. I need more information, more data. The better I will accept it, the better I'll push it. But as far as the ketogenic diet, it does help. But if you watch my video on the previous ketosis, I am able to get myself as a vegan into ketosis. I don't need high fat diet. I don't need a high protein diet. In fact, I tried to switch over to a mostly protein and fat diet just for a 30-day stint. I had acne. I had all my markers went up. Check out my video. I'll try to link it down below. Some people will benefit from ketosis. Some people won't. But I think it's really important to understand that sometimes it's inherent that if you are bound for cancer because of genetics and you misbehave, you will express that gene. If you're bound for cancer because of genetics and you pay it forward with paying attention to lifestyle change and being healthy throughout your whole life, the majority of it, the likelihood of you expressing the gene is low. The likelihood of you repressing the gene is high. You can do this before you get to the chemotherapy, guys. Before you have to have a second opinion from an oncologist. Before you even have a finding from me, the screener. I think it's important to change those things. The only problem is selling this to people that are busy or have kids or don't like the taste, don't have time to cook. Tough sell when you're not feeling anything, and that's the dichotomy of this population. Our population is we have to get to early screening. We have to get to early detection. But a lot of their patients don't get in, or they get to doctors, and myself included before. A lot of primary care individuals, internists, will do pretty decent jobs, standard though. They won't go the extra because getting metrics is one thing, blood tests, and maybe imaging tests. Finding who this person is and trying to reverse disease and lifestyle, bad lifestyles is really time consuming and just is not there. And even if it was found, the suggestions for how to lose weight, how to exercise, how to encourage a mindful practice, how to change your deficiency in your vitamin supplements, that's not taught in school. I've accumulated that data by default because I'm trying to get myself healthy from terrible events of my life. But again, I want to be a better person, healthier person, better dad, better husband, better grandpa, and coach. So that's my stand on it. But to get off my soapbox, I think it's important to understand that average American diet usually stinks as far as plants anyway. You're supposed to be there's like 1.5 servings of fiber per day. Grains, veggies. To get to 10, impossible. That was suggested a long time ago, but I really think that we need more fiber. As far as which fiber, it depends. Like I mentioned, if you consider all foods as a carcinogen potential, I would pick and choose, and that's where some of the arduous information is. Do I go organic? Do I cut out grains if I have thyroid disease? Do I get in veggies? How do I prepare the veggies, raw versus cooked? And that is a lot of data. But if you just take the 30,000 foot view and just try to have healthier things in sight without being too anal or obsessive compulsive about this thing, being anal about data is what I try to do because it's interesting me. I don't suggest anybody else do that because you'll be reading and listening to information way too long. I'm okay with that. But you should be able to get me as your source of information, or your doctor as your source if your doctor is up to date. So again, I think it's important to understand that the standard American diet's not the way to go. It might be convenient, so short-term gain, really long-term loss, and a lot of suffering. And that's what the name of the game is to try to avoid suffering. And if I can get, I'm not an oncologist, I'm not your doctor, but if I can get my guys to be successful and beat the cancers that are coming with just making healthy lifestyle change, I've done my job. Regardless, even if both my guys, Tim and Adam, have surgery, I think the outcome will still be better because they'll have a better post-op surgery. If you had those prostate blood tests and you showed, after our discussion and our lifestyle change, a decrease, but yet you know you have cancer and your surgery is slated for a month from now, would you postpone surgery and repeat testing in 3 months, understanding that it might be a fluke and it might accelerate, or would you wait on the surgery and see if continued lifestyle change provides even further changes? So if you can put your comments down below, it'd be cool, whoever's watching this. Would you have surgery, go through with it, go through possible poison, chemotherapy, and maybe radiation, or would you wait and continue to implement or dive deeper into the changes of lifestyle? Comments down below. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe to me, share this with somebody who's on the fence, and I'll see you at the next video.